And we are live on Facebook and YouTube. Hello, and welcome to the Bold Leadership Story Show, where we talk about the experiences shaping exceptional lives. And today I'm honored to have on the show with me Savannah Sieja.
Hi, guys.
I said it right, Savannah Sieja.
Yes, you did. Thank you for having me, Jim.
Oh, my pleasure, Savannah. I'm super happy you're here today. Savannah has um, an amazing story, and I'm really excited to share what she's doing with you. Savannah's actually, what is your title? Co-owner of the
Yeah,
Western
it's
Eagle
a,
Foundation.
yeah, me and my dad have been working really closely ever since I was 16 to help continue the foundation that my grandpa started back in the 90s.
Yeah, and it's really, really important. I think that what you're doing is helping the community address the food insecurity um,
hmm
situation that's going on. Can you
Yeah,
talk a little bit about that and what's actually happening in some numbers?
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason why Western Eagle was created in the first place from my grandpa back in 1990. He was the youngest of 9 children. And so he always just got the bottom of the barrel. Like, he was just never the first chosen. It was always like, okay, like, whatever food scrap, he would just have the rest. And like, he was just like, I never want anyone to feel like that.
Mm,
And then he like got his wheels turning and he's like, so like, what do people do with the product that is not sold on the shelves? So like, when we go to the grocery store every day, like, it probably never even crosses anyone's mind like what happens to stuff that isn't sold, or like, past the best by date, or like expired, or whatever the case may be. Like, what happens to that? And like, he really just wanted to help people in the community, and so he migrated here from Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, and then he started Western Eagle, and it was just like a super small, like 500 square foot, where like little office space, and just trying to get food donations. And then shortly after, the magnitude of it just kept growing, because just like so many companies were like, okay, we need to get this stuff off our hands and not putting it to a landfill. And so then, like, from 1990 to now, like, we have just been, getting a lot of food donations. But then ever since COVID happened, we stopped getting food donations, and so now, like, we're buying everything. But the main story is just to have the community come to a place where they can find more affordable food and home items, because it's just the disposable income these days especially is just like awful. And
mm.
so that is just like our number one priority, and just like helping those in need. Through our abundance of our programs, we have like our storefront, which is our bargain store. We have our emergency free food bag program. It's available bi-weekly. We have a customized food box program. It's like a $20 box that has a variety of foods inside. And then we also have our community food bank. And so all of these programs are just really trying to help the community have a place to not only like find, cheaper options of food and home, but also to be able to distribute them in, at a free rate.
That is so amazing. So, how many meals a week do you guys help with at this
Tens
point?
of thousands, honestly,
A
because we have a
week?
tens of thousands, because we have on Thursdays. So tomorrow we've had about like 20 different churches, groups, organizations that come and pick up bulk food pallets from us. And so when I say like bulk food, is whatever we have in the warehouse that came in like from previous weeks, or like whatever we put all like on a pallet, probably like, 6 feet high or whatever. And then they distribute this food throughout the community, throughout these churches and groups, and rehabilitation centers and group homes, and whatever you could possibly imagine. And then through our storefront, we have, thousands and thousands of people coming through, each week, that are just also bringing their family. And it's like, it's not maybe the people that are coming through, but the magnitude that we reach through
Mhm.
that is thousands of people each week. And you can find all of this like on our website too. And we just really try to like highlight that, because the more people know about us, the more help we can provide to the community.
So cool. Yeah, I just brought up your website.
Amazing.
So um, we've got, yeah, so you've got your programs. Let's pull that up. You've got the community food bank, right?
Yep. So you could see how the bottom, where it says families served annually. So like we always serve like 350,000 families annually.
Wow.
And that is through our community food bank program. As you can see there, those are like kind of the pallets that people receive, and it is
Mhm.
always different. And so each day where there is definitely, a lot of different people coming in. When I say different, just like newer people, because it's just like how we've really gotten a lot of outreaches through word of mouth and like through like testimonials where like customers will come in and just be like, you guys like saved us, like we wouldn't be able to feed our family. And so that really
Mhm.
goes a long way, through the
Fu
community.
Yes, and you've got food, you've got furniture, you've got, personal items. There's all
Yes.
kinds of really, great item. I mean, they're high quality. I've been in there several times. In fact, I had to use you for a while. I was in a me and my family were in a food insecurity situation for a bit, and I found Western Eagle Foundation. I was like, this is fantastic. I so we it a couple of weeks we'd go in. We had to actually depend on that, and boy, I tell you what, it was really a godsend for us.
I love to hear that, Jim. I just feel like it's like one of those places that is, it's kind of like a hole in the wall, because like when you drive up to it, you're like, what is this? It looks like it could be like a commercial office building. And so then you
Mhm.
walk in, you're like, whoa, this is crazy. Like you just never imagine. But it definitely, we're always just trying to, bring outreach and just like for more families, especially at this time. Like as I said previously, like it's really, it's rough right now. People need more resources, because as prices are going up and our wages are not going up, like it's physically like impossible to, sometimes, make ends meet. And so it's nice that as a community we can come together and provide a place for customers and people to come.
It really is, and it's the people that you have working there have all been just super nice and very attentive and knowledgeable and helpful. If you have a question, they're like right there, and just keeping things moving, keeping this everything clean and nice, and it's just a pleasure to shop there. I thought
Oh,
very
well,
very good.
thank you, Jim. It can definitely be, not like most work environments, because we're mainly volunteer based. And so we have
Hmm.
two groups that come in and volunteer with us. Um, U-Turn for Christ and Free and D. And so these are like rehabilitation programs where men and women go into these homes and try to fight their addictions. And so, and it also just gives like the work development, gives people a chance to get out and like work again, because, some of these people, they're coming out of prison or they're coming out of bad situations, and whether
Hmm.
they don't have the tools to be in a social setting, or they just don't, like physically cannot work somewhere because of past things that happen in their lives. We really try to highlight on giving those individuals a second chance, because it's just it's not fair at times, because like what you change and then you can't go and work anywhere, it's a sad cycle. It's very easy to get back into those same like bad patterns.
Mm. Yeah, oh, for sure. You got to change your whole environment.
Yep,
And that's
that's
not
bottom
easy to
line.
do. The people you're hanging around with, and sometimes where you're living, to get away from those people that aren't, helping you, and
Yep.
it's not easy to do. And the food
Yeah.
you're eating is really critical.
Yes, especially because like, it's so much cheaper to buy, canned goods, or, little pastas, or, TV dinners, rather than, people can't afford, even like if it's like it's a health restriction where like you can't eat wheat or you can't eat certain things, and it's like,
Right.
or you want to eat organic, but it's three times the price. And so we really try to partner with new suppliers and stuff to be able to have like new products like as often as we can, so that we can really address like everyone's wants and needs, as challenging of course as that is.
Yeah. And then are you looking for volunteers still?
Oh yeah, well, we're always looking for volunteers. Like as I said, like we're mainly volunteer based. We have like 8 employees, and so it's always our volunteers are everything. Like we would not have been here all of these years if it wasn't for them. And it most definitely, can be challenging to navigate at times, especially because, even if you're a volunteer, but like some people like will come like for court order or like whatever the case may be, and it can be challenging to navigate, like to try to tell people like, okay, well, this needs to be done and this and that, and like not being able to pay them sometimes can be challenging. But then we pay our volunteers through their for their time. Like we'll give them discounts in the store. If we have a surplus of things, we'll give them, some food or whatever the case may be based on supply and demand. But yeah, we're mainly volunteer based, and we're always looking for volunteers.
Excellent. And
Yeah.
you can see, westerneaglefoundation.org, and there's your email address.
Hmm. I do get emails there just about volunteer requests, and just like even if you have any questions, like we're always here. Like no one needs to like come and like set a time. Like we always have something for someone to do, and so that's like one of the most amazing things about this program is very flexible, because I feel like, as I've heard in the past, like a lot of volunteer work can be, you have to be here at a certain time. You can only do this. You have to, this is very defined things, qualifications sometimes too. And so it's nice that we will accept anyone of any, physical restriction or anything. If you can only sit and you can only do certain things, like we can do that. And like, even if you just want to come and volunteer just to, spend your time not sitting at home, we have a lot of, seniors and stuff that will do that too. And so it's
Mhm.
a really cool program for sure.
Excellent. Yeah, I have another show that I do called Unlocking Personal Leadership Live. And
Okay.
that's one of the 5 things that we talk about is community service and
Mhm.
spending. I always try to encourage people to go out and, find a place to go help in your community. Spend
Mhm.
an hour or 2 hours a week. And the rewards for doing that are huge.
Huge. It's just it's everything. That's the biggest, like, I'm very young to be doing what I'm doing, and I feel very fortunate to be in the position that I am to be able to, give, and I feel like I was put on this earth to do what I do, and, like, especially at such a young age, it's very challenging to figure out, like, what you wanna do and, like, what you wanna see yourself doing in, like, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. But it's just, like, helping people is will always be a need. There's always gonna be, you know, the need for helping people. And so I just really think that Western Eagle is will hopefully be here for, till time ends, to be able to help people in the community have a place where they can find, more affordable food and home options.
Yeah. Well, it's like my situation. I There was no way I'd ever have thought that I would be in a position to need um, food. I mean,
Mhm.
it's like wow. And I've never told anybody that. I just,
Mhm.
it's just like didn't matter. But I mean, it really, really did save us from,
I'm so glad.
yeah. So it's like bless you and all of your whole team for
Well, thank you,
doing
Jim.
what you do.
I do believe that it's important to for us, like, our mission statement also is that, like, because being able to talk about those things and say those things is not easy, and being able to, like, we have an emergency free food bag program. It's not easy to go up to someone, especially if you've never been here before, and be like, "Oh, look, where is the free food?" You know what I mean? Like that, it's like
Right.
being
You
able
gotta
to
swallow your
provide.
pride, and it's like you
Yeah,
walking with your kinda head down and shuffling in,
for
and it's like
sure.
yeah. But
And
everybody in there
so
is, like, really happy and encouraging, and it makes you feel good. It's a feel good place to walk into, I think.
I do agree, Jim. I think that a lot of everyone that is an employee here, does have their own story. Like everyone, was
Uh,
not where they are right now, and like they were in these programs, or they were doing making bad choices, or they did come from a bad background, or they were in, jail for some bad decisions. And so being able to have a place where people can come and not only find more affordable items, but feel like it's a community, it's like
mhm.
I love hearing that people feel that way as well. It's very warming.
Yeah, well, it definitely got my attention and won my heart and soul to help out and do what I can do to help you serve your mission.
Thank you, Jim. Being here really helps as well. So thank you.
No, my pleasure. It's so. Tell us about tell me about a little bit about Savannah, where you grew up in a local area here.
No, actually, so my family and I have lived in the same house in San Marcos, like probably
Okay.
like 40 minutes away, for my entire life, for 23 years in the same house. I'm an only child, and my grandparents live down there, both sets, and my aunt lives down there, and so like our life's down there. And my dad has been doing this drive to Temecula for 25 years. And my parents used to live in the desert, but then once they had me at 37, they're like, the desert was not a place for them to raise a child for them. And
Hmm.
so they came here. And then ever since I was 16, I have been working here. I went to San Marcos High School, and then I went to Arizona State University. And it was nothing about the school. It's just like I'm so driven in working, and so working was always been my passion rather than being an attendee at school. And so
Hmm.
I decided to come home and just do school online, and so I've been at with National University ever since. So
Okay.
very flexible. I can do my work at school or at work at I can do my homework at work or at home or traveling or whatever needs to happen, because we do a lot of like remote work, networking events, as I know that you go to as well. And like
Hmm.
some things that will take us out of the state. And so it's nice to be able to have that convenience for school. And so I finished school actually in like 2 months. And so I'm really excited about that. And then I'm just going to continue just trying to build this place to the next level. My grandpa brought us this foundation, like he established it. And then my dad brought like a couple of programs, the customized food box program.
Hmm.
And then now I feel like it's like my turn. I'm like, okay, what am I going to bring to this? It's going to be different.
Hmm.
And I think social media is a huge part of that, and just like outreach and being out in the community and networking is just everything, especially because like Temecula or the county of Riverside is like 700 nonprofits. So it
Hmm.
can be, a little scary sometimes because you can get really lost in the mix. And so I'm just really excited to just see what the next couple of years happen. And um, yeah, so that's basically my story. I love living where I do, but I would love to live a little bit closer. I'm a big ocean girl. I love being in the
Yeah.
water.
Yeah. Me too.
Really, do you like to surf?
I've been a couple of times. Got some
Okay,
stories, but I just love swimming. I'm a scuba diver, so I love
cool.
to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. The ocean is amazing. And so, but yeah, and so then very close with my family. It's absolutely everything to me. I feel like being an only child, my family's just been all I've ever had. And so,
Hmm.
and being the youngest one in my entire family, like I feel like I've always been an observer, and like I've always just like really understood like where people are. And like I've just always just kind of like listened. And so I think it's really helped shape me into who I am today, and to be
Hmm.
able to like take on these roles. And my dad really, he would retire like in the next 5 years if he wanted to, and like it would be okay. And like I just think that I know that this is end goal right here. And so I just want as many people to find out about Western Eagle as possible so we can continue growing it.
Excellent. What's your vision?
Yeah.
Where do you want to take it?
We want to expand. Like we would definitely love to expand, like maybe to like LA County, San Diego County, like down by El Cajon, Santee area, all the way up to LA. But we right now is just not really the market to do so, and especially
Hmm.
because we're buying all of our product as we used to have it donated, and so we're trying to figure that out right now. It's almost come to a point where our space is so large for a for us to be buying all of the product nowadays. And so we're really just trying to get out in the community. Any day I'm not here, I'm out in networking, trying to find new suppliers and connections. And but it's hard. Like nobody really wants to give anything away for free.
Right.
Like it's
Right.
just it is what it is. And so that is where you have to be kind of a honey badger, and you just have to keep going back and back and showing them your story and showing them how you could be helping people instead of putting, items into a landfill. And
Mm.
so that is something that like I'm really trying to bring a lot of outreach to, because it's really sad the amount of food that just goes to waste and that is being destroyed because people don't want to, even donate it to someone if we can give it away for free, So we're really trying to figure out, because there are those places out there, but we need to really find them.
What experiences from your childhood kind of prepared you for this this this
I
it's
I feel like
it's an ongoing business, right? You've got an operation and it's working, right? You've got this machine
yes,
going and it's
yes.
working. It seems really efficient right now, I mean, from my observation. And but
I really
there's got to
think
be some things that like you you just kind of hinted on being a honey badger.
yeah, I just think it's my DNA because my whole family, like, they're just go-getters to the max, and, like,
Okay.
my grandpa just really started a strong foundation. For, like, 20 years, it was just straight philanthropy, like, he is just for the straight will of his heart, he never wanted it to get big, like, he just wanted to help people, and I think that is, like, the best things in life are just so unexpected, and
Mm,
it's like, you don't you're not just gonna be like, okay, this is gonna be the biggest next place. We're gonna have a store at every, every city, every county. It's more just like focusing on what really matters and is helping people. And like that has always helped us in the long run. Like I believe that God does have a plan to help people. And like
mhm,
there is so many, so much tragedy in this world. And so being able to see that at such a young age and being fortunate enough to come here ever since I've been 6 months old. Like, I have had my own room in this very office that I'm in, and then now I'm, gonna be 23 this year, and now I'm in it, and, like, I just think that I really don't take things for granted, and I really take, like, every situation, good and bad, it to the best possible lesson, because I believe that life is just all about trial and error and lessons, and, like, just seeing my grandpa do what he did, like, I just felt it in my bones that this was something that is gonna be endgame, and honestly, what keeps us going the most, like, especially when we're down, is hearing our customers, like, hearing your story, Jim, and hearing, customers that come in here every day and tell us that, like, "We would not be okay without you guys." Like, the stories just go on, and so I think that is the most motivating thing in the entire world because you feel like you're making a difference. Even if it's to one person, you're making a difference in their entire lives. And I think that is very important. And I don't think I realized that until like older in my life, like even like 2, 3 years ago, like when I was like
mhm.
coming out of high school and like coming here right after high school and stuff. Like it's also just being young and dumb and unexperienced and just naive. And like I just think that if everyone just really understood how it could always be worse. Any
Mm,
situation in life, it can always be worse. And
always be worse.
understanding that, and grasping that really just like kind of keeps you going because it's like, okay, like we're all in this, life together and we're all just trying to figure it out to the best of our ability. And I wish I had something more definitive. I just think I'm very in tune with so something that happens, like I like lock onto it. I'm like, okay, there's a reason why that happened. And understanding that and just being very aware of how much worse it could always be is very important in life.
Mm, boy, that yes, so important.
It's everything. But I wish I
Mm,
had something that, like, really, nickeled it down for me, but because like, my dad comes and talks to me, like, he probably has said this to me, like, 10 times in this past 7 years. He's like, "You don't have to do this." Like, I would never, like, judge you
mm,
if you're like, "Okay, like, if you wanna go do something else, like, go and do that." And, like, it's almost, like, insulting to me. I'm like, This is it. Like, this is end game for me." And, like, if I ever were to think about, like, what I would be doing, like, I'm graduate in 2 months, and if it wasn't that, like, what would I be doing? And it just the bottom line is just helping people because people, this society, like we need everyone needs help in one shape or form. Like whether it's as simple as getting help like pumping some gas or getting help like on the side of the road giving homeless people some money. Like it's just I think that it's very important to be able to help people.
and you are. I mean, you're doing you and your organization are doing amazing work. Um,
Thank you, Jim.
the one thing that I wanted to ask you about was what do you do for fun?
Oh, for
Usually,
me,
like I know when I was your age, I was like the last thing I wanted to talk about or do was like work, but I did it. But I was like, I wanted to be out doing other things. Yeah. So
Yes.
where's your fun side? What's your passion for that?
So that's like the one thing about me is like when I leave this place, like when I'm on my way home, like I'm really good at compartmentalizing and like I'm really good at going and doing things that I want to do. I'm a very spontaneous person. Like my best friend was like, "Okay, we're gonna pick up and we're gonna go to Palm Springs this weekend. We're just gonna figure it out. We're gonna go stay with my grandma. We're gonna go do that." I'm there. Or we're gonna go do whatever. I'm there. And like I really don't care, and I love doing yoga. I love traveling, like, more than anything. Like, I'm just a road tripper. I'll get in the car, figure it out once I'm there type
Yeah.
thing, and,
Where's the most interesting place you've done on that kind of spur of the moment?
was, like, going to Scottsdale, actually. So, like, my friends live in
Okay.
Scottsdale,
Yeah.
and I met them through high school, and now they live out there, and they're always like, "Savvy, come live here." And, my nickname is Savvy, and, like, I was just like, "I can't, like, this is, like, my family business," and they're like, "Okay, just come this weekend," and I was just like, "I don't know if I can," and then I just, like, literally picked up and went, didn't have a single article of clothing. I was just like, "Okay, I'll just get it out there,
I'm
whatever."
going.
Yeah, I'm
All right.
going. And so I love Arizona, honestly, and like Arizona would be a great place to expand also. But on another note, but I love going in the ocean. I love going and hiking with my dogs and my friends. I love like arts and crafts, but yoga is like a huge part of my life, and I love practicing yoga. I have a it's one thing like if I'm going to spend money on, like it is, being with a yoga studio because that is
Mm.
everything to me, and it just really it changed my life completely
What is
because
it you love about yoga for you?
it's just the mind, body, and soul experience. It's just
Mm.
understanding that, like, your breath is just everything in life, and just understanding that, like, you are physically able to control anything that you're going through with your breath and with your mind, because your mind is your worst enemy, unfortunately. Like, no one else is your worst enemy than your mind, because it's like when you're going through something, your mind's just racing, 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 and you're like,
Yeah.
the ability of like just calming down and being present is so important because I'm sure we all feel like, oh my gosh, like life goes by so fast. Like it's already February 14th. Like,
Yeah.
where does the time go?
Yeah.
And so
That
yoga,
doesn't get any better than I'm 66 now, and it's like it just it's just gone. And to hear you say what you just said, it took me till I was like 50 to figure that out.
oh,
So
well, I really try to enjoy every day. And like yoga really like, has helped me with that. And I was on, like antidepressants, and like I don't know, I felt like I needed to be on that. And like I feel like a lot of people feel like they need to be sometimes like on, a prescription med to be, the best version of themselves or whatever the case
mm,
may be, because they're sad or whatever. But
yeah.
I just think that yoga and moving your body and like being, so in tune with your breath is just like absolutely everything. Like I'm a better person every single time I walk out of the studio, and it's incredible. I love it. More, it's a huge part of my life, and I constantly look forward to going. And not only is it good for your body, like stretching is very important, but it's just it calms you down. And I never
Mm,
felt like I needed to be on something ever again after I was doing yoga so habitually. And so yeah, I just love being outdoors. So whenever like I'm not in here, I try to be outdoors as much as I physically can, for
mm,
sure.
awesome.
But
Me too.
yeah, you do?
Yeah, oh yeah, I love being outside. I'm a snow skier, water skier, I'm backpacker. I've done all kinds of crazy stuff. Jumped out of airplanes. I've flown airplanes. I've just yeah, just lot of
How cool.
adventure things. But
Yes.
it's life is fun if you let it. And I love what you said about just sometimes just being spontaneous and just going.
Mhm.
I've got a buddy that does that. You might know him, Florin Dumais. He's telling me stories that he takes trips sometimes, or he has in the past. He'll just
Mhm.
buy a one-way ticket to a place and like
I love
far
it.
away. So we're and
Yeah.
maybe like a couple times he's done it where he doesn't even know the language, and he'll just go.
It's like admiring, honestly, because it takes a
Yeah,
lot of guts to do that, especially
it does.
alone.
Yeah.
That's something I'm working on, like doing things more alone. But that does take a lot of guts for sure, but I can only imagine just like how amazing that is. And I think like if you have the opportunity, and the tools to be able to do it, it really traveling is just everything. I can tell that you like to travel as well.
Yeah, I do. I love it. I've been about every state in the country, and I've been to the UK, and I've been to China,
Oh
um,
wow.
and I've been down to the West Indies, British West Indies, and so yeah, I've been around a bit,
Yeah.
uh, and I love
Oh,
it.
for sure.
It's just the food and the culture and the people. Everybody's loving, I
Yeah,
find,
for sure.
for the most part.
Yeah, exactly. But it really opens your perspective up to things. Like if ever I'm not here, like I'm putting money into savings and I'm trying to, figure out where I want to go next. And I think that again, like if you have the resources and tools to be able to do that,
Yeah,
then
yeah.
and you like to do it, then there's no better time to do it as at that time, at that exact moment, because we're not wasting, but time just goes by way too fast. And then you're like, oh shoot, like I should have done that, and sometimes I even think that way about like going to college. Like I don't have a traditional college experience. And it does like kind of like I'll like think about it sometimes like, oh, like dang, like that kind of sucks. But then it's like I would never trade it. It's like more like a subtle thought, but it's there for sure. And like all of
Mhm.
my friends had the college experience and like I lived through them in a sense, but I do think that everything does happen for a reason. And just if you can be able to get yourself out there, even if it's like getting yourself out there and going to a different, taking a walk and going a different route than you usually do, or like
Mhm.
driving in your car on your way to work and you go a different route, just like have difference and change, because who wants to do the same thing every single day?
Oh, yeah, yeah, I think it's toxic to do that
It
personally.
is.
I
Yeah.
can't do it. I was like, "No, I
Yeah.
gotta go. I gotta change." Even if it's not as efficient, I gotta go, 'cause it's inspiring. You see different things, you meet different people, and
Mhm.
life is more interesting and abundant, and who knows? I think, we run into people for reasons,
Mhm. Uh-huh.
certain
We sure
places, and
do.
you follow just this little whisper in your mind. Sometimes it just says, "Go this way," and you just go.
Uh-huh. Following that whisper is something that, like, I've recently, like, in the past couple of months even, just, like, been really trying to be in tune with, because there's a
Mm,
reason why you have that split second thought, you know?
mhm.
And that split second thought, all of us, I'm sure, I'm not trying to speak for anyone, but we have all, I'm sure, ignored those thoughts before,
Oh, yeah.
And, like, I am really just trying to, dive deep nowadays, and, like, when I have those thoughts, like, think for a second, like, "Oh, wait, like, why could I be having this thought right now?" you know? And I think it is really good to, surprise yourself even, like get
Mhm,
up and like go do something else or go try different food or, go and do something you normally wouldn't. And it's very important. I agree. Stay relevant and just say, um, so it's not boring, because boring life, like you can get yourself into trouble if things are too boring, you
yeah.
know?
Oh, oh, for sure. You get complacent, and you don't pay attention, and you're not on your game, and
Yeah,
bad things can happen
for
if
sure.
you're not into it and staying with it in your game.
For sure. Complacence is it's honestly very terrifying. And I felt like I was honestly in that point for a while. When I came home from Arizona State, I was in not probably the best relationship. And like it was like I was what 18 at the time, and like it was like, okay, this is end game. Like we're gonna like marry each other, that we're gonna move in with each other. And we're 18 years old doing the
Yeah.
same thing every single day. Like it became a pattern where I was like, okay, I'm thankful that this happened now at 18 and it didn't happen. I'm 40. I have two children and I have to navigate it now. So like just
Mm.
really being able to like follow your heart and just like, reading into those things that like even if you have that thought for a second, like, ooh, is this gonna work? Or like, do I see this forever? Like it's important to listen to those, because otherwise it can get to a point where it's too late, and it's always a terrifying thing.
Yeah. Well, my story is like about back in 2020. I had some health issues that I had to deal
Mhm.
with, and right beginning of COVID, and I lost my job during COVID, and things got really dicey. I had no income coming in except for benefits from the state, and
Mhm.
it's like every day was like ah, and
Totally.
I know there's a ton of people that were in the same situation, or I'm sure a lot worse than me. But
Mhm.
it's having that mental clarity, enough mental clarity every day to get up and be grateful and be appreciative and seek the joy to
Mhm.
every day to have some joyful experience is
Yes.
where I got to, and that carried me through.
Mhm. It's a perseverance for sure, and just, like, knowing that it's gonna get better, but it's so hard to feel that way in the moment,
Mm,
you just think it's like, "Okay, like, I'm just gonna be here," and it's very discouraging, just like how you said, it's like every day was just kinda, like, crazy, and it's just like, "When is this gonna stop?" You know?
yeah,
And I think, like, having the right tools and the people around you, if you can find that support and find those, like, those areas that or those places that could help you is very important, and it
yeah,
can come down to like even just like a single person making your day, like you're at the gas pump and you go up and you're like, oh no, your gas is already paid for. Like that could
mm,
change someone's like it gave me just chills even saying that. Like it can just small acts of kindness are very very important. And it can bring light to the situations where you know it that aren't as, fortunate, and, like, I how did you navigate through that?
well, it was just that. I mean, just one day at a time, taking it
Mhm,
and just having this idea that it's temporary, and
mhm,
I'll recover, and I'll things will happen, and I just relaxed.
mhm,
I had to heal my body. I didn't have insurance, so I wasn't full up, and I'm too old. I wasn't hireable for a job. There wasn't really
mhm,
much going on during COVID anyway, so it's like I'll just relax and just reduce my lifestyle down to what I can afford,
mhm,
and just be grateful for that, and just relax.
mhm,
Like you said, just breathe and be in the moment,
mhm,
and then things start coming to you, and you meet
mhm,
people, and it's the people really
mhm.
that I met during that period of time that really helped me get through it, because there are so many beautiful people
I
around us.
agree, I agree. That is very huge for sure, and it's just like how you said, it's like each day it's important to not get so frustrated as much as you possibly can because I've realized like even if it's a situation like, you know, I'm trying to open this can and it's not working and it's like
Mhm.
it gets snapped or whatever and you feel yourself getting so
It's like,
frustrated like
"Arr."
yeah, like, but, like, it's not gonna help you. It's not gonna make the can open any faster, you getting upset. So being in tune with, like, how you're gonna react to things and, like, for me, especially not being so reactive has helped me get through any like, not like, a sticky situation in life, Even though that's the easiest thing, and that's, like, in our bodies, like, that could be the first response, is just like, "Oh, this sucks." Like, I'm so irritated right now. But it's like realizing like, okay, like it's not that bad. Let's just like reel it in and let's like, really understand that it could always be worse. As like I'm sure like you probably felt like during that time, you're like, okay, well, I'm here, I'm healthy, I have my family, the people around me, and of course I'm not in a situation where I want to be in, but at least I'm not, on the streets and at least I can still eat somewhat, and like it's so hard to justify that because there's like a fine line of like, but I'm going through this. And it's sad. But at the end of the day, like being in tune with like reality and understanding that like people are going through some pretty crummy things too, it is comforting.
Mhm.
So I think people is a very important element in just like persevering through tough situations.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. It's amazing how much, thinking back on it, I'm remembering that I actually I took time to learn how to manage my stress,
Mhm.
and I learned how to meditate. I'd never done
Mhm.
that before. So I purposely I Googled it and say, okay, well, where do I go to learn how to do this? And
Mhm.
I asked people around me, and I found we found Gaia first, and then we found Joe Dispenza, and then
Okay.
I found for other things I was doing started doing intermittent fasting and extended fasting, and
Mhm.
then my girlfriend's a ballerina, so she had me doing exercise all the time, and I
Love
was on her
that.
bar class doing exercising, and I ended up evolving into loving what I was what I was given during that time,
Mhm.
and it's now I'm using all of those things now in my life.
Mhm.
I
That's
do.
amazing.
I have a really great diet now that is doing intermittent fasting with an eating window, and I've learned a ton about food. I've learned a ton about my body. I've learned a ton about um, how stress basically destroys your immune system and how
Mhm.
you, everything. I mean, stress is just so bad, and I was attacking my body every day with
Mhm.
tons and tons of cortisol and chemicals that your body makes to help it uh, overcome, you know, external forces that it thinks are there, but that aren't. And you
For
put them in,
sure.
you invoke those, and they actually start tearing your heart apart and your everything. And I
It's
was there. I
scary.
was like destroying myself.
Mhm.
And but meeting those people and getting to know those techniques, and then putting them into my program, my life, helped me a lot. And during that time too, that's when I was going to Western Eagle Foundation for assistance with food, and just ended up being a beautiful experience. And I wouldn't change it
Mhm.
for the world. It was really hard,
Mhm.
but even though I was 64 at the time when it happened, it's like I'm really fortunate that it happened at all,
Yeah.
and that
No,
I've
for
got
sure.
another. Because of what I've learned, I believe I'm incorporating longevity aspects into my life. Um, I believe I could live for another 30 plus years.
Yes, 100%. And it's very beautiful that you took such a not horrible, but like really sticky, rough situation in your life, like period of your life, and really transitioned it into something where you evolved, you started, new life habits, with your food, with exercise, with meditation, and it's amazing that like those three things can be a complete ultimatum. It completely changed your life, and I felt that way, like, getting off of antidepressants. I was like, "I don't need to be on an antidepressant. I just need
Yeah.
to eat well, I need to work out, I need to be in tune with my emotions, and I need to meditate." All of the
Mm,
same things as you, and it makes me sad because I see a lots of customers and clients that come in here where they are trying to have that help and they are trying to make a change, but it's also, like, the food choices that people can eat when they are feeling those type of ways and their stress levels are through the roof, and the types of food that they can afford is not helping them at
yeah.
all. It's
Yeah.
honestly making it worse. And so that's what's like so heartbreaking about this whole thing, because you could want to change. Like, you could be doing all the right things, but you're not putting the right things into your body, and it's physically impossible. And so that is something that like we really try to incorporate, more healthy, fruits, vegetables, organic goods, as much healthiness as we possibly can imagine we
Mm,
can, because at the end of the day, it's everything that you put in your body and what you decide to do on a daily basis, meditate, practice healthy lifestyle habits. That just like makes up like who you are, you know? And I just really do think that it's everything, and just being able to understand that evolving is an amazing, thing that we can do in life.
yeah, I was going to bring up I love your Facebook page
Oh, thank you.
that you guys have, um, in the images that you've got up here. It's like, you've got all this incredible.
So
produce every day. It's fresh.
that is our customized food box program. And so that everything's shown there, as well as it might be in another photo. There's like a whiteboard. So you get, oh yeah, so you get everything shown there for $20. So like that's exactly what we have on there
Yeah,
actually, like as
that's
of
what I
right
was
now.
doing. That lasted
Okay.
a family of 4. We were eating that one box. It lasted about 5 days
It's amazing for
for
$20.
20 bucks,
Yeah,
and it's
it's
healthy.
we try. And we
Yeah.
really try to, really get some like hearty foods in there.
Mhm.
But I just think that if we did have more outreach for people to know about these things, it could really make a difference in a lot of people's lives.
So where do you need the most help right now?
We need the help with suppliers. So being able to like, have donated food, donated products, period. That is just everything because we do have the people that need it. And it's just more like trying to figure out the quantity. Like you see these food items here, but the quantity of them, dwindle and they, change every single week.
Mhm.
And so it's very hard to figure out, what to put in the box sometimes. It's worth, while for people. And so
Like
that
these
is something. Oh, yeah,
I was
so then we
gonna
have, like,
ask
a
you, these mangoes,
surplus.
where did those come from? Just random
So,
example.
it's just like a distribution center. So distribution center has way too many mangoes. We had came in a semi of mangoes. So we were giving away, um, free boxes of mangoes for, like, I would say a week. And, like, that would probably be, like, 15 at least $15 at the store for all those mangoes,
Oh, yeah.
or, like 'cause mangoes aren't cheap or, like,
No,
somewhere
they're not.
along those
They're
lines.
so nutritious. They've got so much, so much good inside them.
Yes,
You could
definitely.
live
So
on mangoes practically.
yeah, I actually didn't know that, but, yeah,
You
Western
can eat
Eagle
them
really.
green, you can eat them. I buy them green and cut them up and eat them that way because they have less sugar in them and they've got more resistant starch, so it feeds my microbiome. And my microbiome creates butyrates that my body uses as fuel.
Oh, wow. I
So
never knew
there's a
that.
lot more to it, to food. These are some of the stuff I've learned, but
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
it's so it's and you get candy, fun
Yes.
things.
So we always really try to have, like a free item if we have, like, a surplus of them. Like, right now, we just have 8 pallets of jalapenos. So I don't really know how
Okay.
many people really want that, if I'm being completely honest. But, we'll donate them to, like, we have this one, gentleman who makes jam, and so, he's an older guy and, like, he makes jam as, a hobby, and so, like,
Uh-huh.
we'll supply him with, like, his fruits and vegetables and stuff, and he'll create jam, and then he'll sell the jam, like, a cheaper rate, but all he really cares about is just, like, really, like, doing something, like, like, doing just, like, well, how am I supposed to say this? But he just loves being able to use whatever we get in and like try to make, a different type of jam from it. And so it's just kind
Mhm.
of cool. We have all these different types of people that will come in and, take their own spin on things. Like there's like even like a Facebook page for the customized food box program, and families will post like what they made with the box. And so that was pretty cool. So we
Wow.
really try to stay, with our we try to keep the engagement pretty high with our customers whenever we can.
Yeah, no, that's great. That kind of leads back to your one of your comments about the future. It's like sounds like you have a passion for getting the word out and using the technology that we've got today to be able to do that.
Yes, I think it's really, really amazing the resources we do have, and like, sometimes like I think about how technology can kind of be scary, especially like coming from like even 10 years ago. Like there was no smartphone, there was no social media, and like I'm thankful that at least I had like a very normal childhood. But any year after me like was not that way.
Hmm.
And it's like even in growing times now, but because of those resources we do have, we have to use them to our advantage. And so I really think that that is like the next step if for any business or period. I just really believe that outreach and getting your name out there through social media, through these for free platforms, it's like that's the only way you're going to be able to really like really get your name out there, and we're lucky to have them nowadays.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it's like just one example for me. I used to be in the sales, so I was out in the territory. I was trying. One point, I was covering 11 Western states and
Oh,
half of
wow.
Canada, so I was on the road a lot. And
Yeah.
in all those cities, I mean, I had to know all those cities, or I had to get a map.
Hmm.
So I, I remember, you probably don't remember these, but there were these things called, they were just these huge maps that you could buy in a book. And I used to have like 8 or 9 of these books that I'd carry on. They're heavy,
Yeah.
and
Totally.
you have to have one for every city. So if you're on a trip and you're going to 4 or 5 cities, you got to carry 5 of those books with you on the plane.
It's
And
just insane.
yeah,
It's
Thomas
like not
Guide.
feasible. Yeah.
Yeah, Thomas Guide. But having just your phone now, it's just like
There it is.
go
It's
anywhere.
crazy.
You don't even have to worry about it. You say, "Well, I'm going to go." Just get the address when you land at the airport, pop it in, and you're off and running, right? So
Yeah, and it's like part of that is very scary though, because it's like, okay, so what's the technology gonna be like in 10 years? Because like look how much it's evolved already. And it's like,
yeah,
okay, now with AI and everything, it's like terrifying, especially with school. Like the school rates, like I just saw something on social media actually, ironically, that 50% of all jobs in America are not going to require a degree. That is like it's sad, honestly, because it's like, what's gonna happen? Like it's sad to an extent. It's like, oh, it's nice that like people can just like immediately get in the work field and like, you know, learn through experience. But it's like so many jobs are being dwindled because of technology. And
yeah,
it's scary.
yeah. It is. It is. You got to know. You got to. I think for me, the time span I've worked when I was going through college, as your age, it was just at the last point of, hey, you're going to you go to high school, get into a good college, get a degree from a good college, and then you get a job and you're there for 40 years and you retire with a pension.
Hmm. It's like that's it. That
I
that
got
was
in,
the
I was
plan.
about 5 years into it, and everybody just, the pensions, now we're not doing that anymore. And everything just started getting taken away. It's
Hmm.
like, okay, we're going to replace this with a 401k, and you're going to love it. And it's like, when you start looking at it, it's like, why should I love this?
Yeah,
It's
seriously.
really, it's not to my benefit. It's just the banks love it.
Yep.
But so now, to me, it's all about using this free technology. It's not free, but
Hmm.
it's available, and figuring out how to use your purpose, just what
Hmm.
God gives you. What God gives us all. We have a gift. We have gifts.
We
Figure
do.
out what that gift is and start
Hmm.
doing that thing with passion,
Totally. It
and
can
the
be
money will
discouraging.
come.
Yeah, definitely. And it's very, especially with like, my age group right now, like just getting out of college, trying to find your first big girl or big boy job. Like,
Mm,
what's my plan? Like, what's gonna be fulfilling for me? What's gonna be able to, what can I, live off of? But what is like my passion? And I just went to school and I have my degree, but I don't know. That is
yeah.
like almost everyone I'm around. That's my friends. And it's very normal, but being
Mhm.
able to like persevere and try to find that gift and try to find that thing that's really gonna you know give you that type of sense of purpose
Mm.
is everything. And so it's just being able to persevere and just know that like you can sometimes be your worst enemy at the time, but just keep going, keep pushing, and something good will happen for sure. Just don't force it. Forcing things is just never
Yeah,
the
you
right
wanna have
choice.
fun. Just
Yeah.
enjoy, it should be joy.
Yep.
Um, wow, time goes so fast.
I know. I
I
can't
have
believe it.
one more question. You have time for one more
Okay.
question?
Yeah.
Okay, I ask everybody on the show the same question,
Okay.
and it's like this: with your whole life so far, I know you've done a ton of stuff. What's the boldest leadership decision that you've made, and what were the consequences?
The boldest leadership decision. Um, hmm. It's like in like a workforce, like being a leader, and like I had to make that decision.
However you determine leadership, yeah, leadership is such a broad thing.
Yeah.
It could be personal leadership, it could be family, whatever comes to mind. That's what I'm looking for. Is just
The first thing that comes to mind is leaving school
okay.
and having everyone turn against me because, like, I've always been very, it's only me, so I don't have any siblings, and so my friends have been everything to me.
Hmm.
And going over that hump of being like, "Okay, I'm done with school," and then losing about 90% of my friends at that
Hmm.
exact moment as well, and then being in so much debt, going from an out of state and like, "Okay, so I'm about to come home and I have to spend all of this money, like over, $10,000. I'm in debt. Like, what is my story? Like, what am I going to do?" And dealing with that at 17 years old, I think was the absolute best thing that could have ever happened to me. And like, I thank my parents almost like weekly because they were like, okay, if you want to come home, you're paying for it and you're dealing with all the consequences of it. And I think that like I was my own leader at that moment because I was like, I'm coming home, I'm going to deal with the consequences. And yes, it was the hardest thing that like I've ever gone through, but it really shaped me into who I am today, and it made me realize that I wanna be the leader that, you know, goes and does the thing that isn't nerve-wracking and that may cause consequences, but if it's best for you, then you need to go and do it. Because life is so short that, like, the building can collapse and game over. Like, it's just any life can just end so quickly that that's where, like, I think I just realized that your health and happiness is absolutely everything in this world, and not even, like, yourself, but people you surround yourself with. And I think just, like, that was, like, the most bold leadership move that I've made, and, like, I don't even think I understood what being a leader really was until, I came here, and then once I finally, like, came home and I was established and I started working here, I realized that I was like, "This is where I'm meant to be. This
Hmm.
is where I'm meant to help people. I'm meant to have these people help me." Because as much as like I, really learn from people and learn how Western Eagle has impacted people's life, each one of every single individual, including yourself, Jim, has helped me realize that okay, this the need for assistance is so substantial in this world, and being a good leader and being a good leader, this is like one thing I learned from school that I will always remember, is the best leader shows people how to do things.
Hmm.
And you need to be your own example, because managers, they just tell you, I need you to do this and this. Leaders are like, okay, I'm going to put myself in your shoes and I'm going to show you how I want it to be done and how I believe that it should be done. And that has been the best thing that I could ever do. And of course it comes with consequences. It's not fun. Being, and disagreements with people and stuff. But I just think that that one pivotal point in my life where it was just me, that like even my parents were like, I don't want you to come home. Like, but my grandpa who started this place, he was like, I did. And he passed away a year later. And he was my best friend in the entire world. And so I think that that was God's plan, that I was meant to come home. I was meant to go through that. And I feel like I can use that experience to be a leader myself and to understand that, like, of course that is, very small, inconvenience in life compared to what a lot of people deal with. But being able to recognize that and understand that, in tough situations, as I'm sure you dealt with, like during COVID and during, like, you never think it's going to be the same again. But surrounding yourself with people and surrounding yourself with, just good positive energy that, like, you did that. Like, you got through it, Jim. Like, I got through my thing. And, like, let's put that energy onto everyone else, because it's like, God knows people need that.
Beautiful.
What do
Thank you.
you say, Jim?
About
You're the most bold leadership move that you've ever done.
oh, I've got several we could talk about, but today's show's about you.
Okay. I'll have to ask you next time I see you.
Yeah, definitely
For
more to
sure.
talk about. Thank you so much for spending time
Yes.
with me.
Thank you for having me, Jim. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, awesome. Me too. Hang on a
Okay.
sec. I'm going to end the session. Bye, everybody.
Okay. Bye, guys. Thanks for listening.